Being a dog parent can be so rewarding, but you may also find yourself doing some things that are downright disgusting. Today on the Sibe-Stream Podcast, we tackle a lot of the incredibly unpleasant but totally realistic situations that you find yourself in with your dog. Welcome to the Sibe-Stream Podcast, where we talk about all things Siberian Husky. I'm Camille from Meeler Husky, and I live in Southern California with my two Siberian Huskies named Phoenix and Griffin.
And I'm Steve from Loki the Siberian. I live in southwestern Ontario with my three Siberian Huskies, Loki, Sasha, and Izzy.
Steve is a musher, and I'm trying to get my dog to pull me, and it's not working out, Steve. It's not.
It's working somewhat.
She's running next to me. It's a start. Before she was running behind me.
I told you how to solve that.
Hook her up to another dog? Get her to pull something light?
Yes.
Get her to pull anything?
You just need to break her into pulling things and get her comfortable with having tension on that line. And then once she figures that out, it should be okay.
Yeah, I've been trying to give her some positive reinforcement. I tell her she's a good girl every time she puts some tension on the line, and she looks at me like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, she must have been trained for loose leash walking.
I think so. She was so trained when we got her.
That's the complete opposite of Sasha.
Yeah. Speaking of Sasha made a friend.
A friend.
So wait, tell everybody on the podcast what your normal runs are usually like, right? So you normally run Loki and Izzy. Why is that?
Well, I normally run Loki and Izzy because there's a couple reasons. One is they're really well behaved in the car. So when I put them in, I have a pickup truck. It just has an extended cab, so it's not a full four-door cab. And the back is a little small. I took the back seat right out of the truck so there's more room for the dogs. Basically, the dogs just go back there, and Loki and Izzy will go back there, and they'll just lay down and go to sleep until they get close to where we're going, and then they'll wake up and get excited. But they're not jumping around. They're not trying to get in the front seat or anything. They're really well behaved. Sasha is a totally different story. We actually took her to London a couple times, and it was just a nightmare because she'd climb up in the front seat. She wants to sit on my lap while I'm driving. So I really need somebody else in the vehicle with me to kind of keep her restrained. And a lot of people say, well, get a seat belt for her, get a short leash to hook up to something so that she can't get into the front seat. Well, we tried that, and she just ate right through the harness.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she actually ate through
take a step back though. London is a place in Canada?
Yeah, London, Ontario. It's 2 hours away.
Oh.
It's one of the biggest cities in Ontario.
I'm American, and clearly I'm ignorant about the rest of the world.
Remember when I told you about Lake Erie, and you're like, Erie?
Yeah. I was like, I know Erie, well duh.
Yeah, we took her to London a couple times for Husky huddles. She's a handful until the way back. On the way back, she was a lot better because she was calmer. But Sasha's really a handful in the truck. So when I'm alone, it's almost dangerous to drive with her. And there's not enough room back there to put a crate. So it's a lot safer for me to take just Loki and Izzy. The other thing is that Loki and Izzy are a lot better at hookup and basically at ignoring things. So Sasha is a lot more easily distracted by things.
So you don't run Sasha with them, all three of them together, because it's not because Sasha can't run. It's because she's a lot to handle in the car and when you're hooking up.
First of all, the trails aren't wide enough to do 3 dogs wide, and the trails are too tight. The corners are too tight to run a 4-dog line. If you're to run 3 dogs wide, they would be at the same distance they are now. If you're to do something like a 4-dog line with 3 dogs, so I put Loki and Izzy in double lead, and then put Sasha in wheel. My dog, Loki and Izzy, are already 9 feet out in front of me. So now you're going to add another 6 feet to that.
Whoa.
The lines are going to be rubbing on the trees and everything. It's just not going to work.
Okay, so I've been sitting on this recording for 2 weeks now. And it is you sending me a voice message right after you ran Sasha. You decided to run her at night.
I sent that while I was running her.
Oh, you were running her. Yeah, you were out of breath. Hold on, I'll play it. And then you just explain what happens. And I'm going to bleep out any of the expletives.
There's many.
So, I can't see anything, really, even with the headlamp. The run was going great. And then there's a tree, and Sasha I see a tail climbing up the tree, and it was not fast enough. Come on, Sasha, on by. And Sasha literally just grabbed a raccoon off of the tree. Oh my god.
I just relived it in my head.
Oh man, you're like out of breath. So you ran her at night. Why? Like, tell us why.
Well, I work long hours, so I start work at 7 a.m. and I get home at 5:30. And the day before, I had ran Loki and Izzy 6 miles. We're up to 6-mile runs with them now. And I like to give them a day's rest. But at the same time, I have a headlamp, and I was like, you know what? I just want to try it. I'll take Sasha out. She went for a walk earlier in the day. Maybe she'll be calm enough in the car. And I have a headlamp, so something I can wear that lights up the trail. It's a really good headlamp, too. It's a Petzl 350 lumen, and I put brand new batteries in it. So it's really bright, but I mean, out there, it's just pitch black. And but yeah, I just decided that there won't be anyone there. It'll be late at night, and the only thing I didn't take into account is wildlife. I forgot about that.
The critters. When you were telling me that story and you said you saw a tail, I was like, oh no, a squirrel. I didn't think she was gonna straight up snatch a raccoon out of a tree. This is how I imagine it going. You're just running along, and then Sasha snatches this raccoon out of a tree, and then she continues on her way.
No.
Dang. That's how it played out in my head.
Let me paint the picture here. The tree is at the end of a J-turn. So the trail goes like this, and it comes around this turn, and then there's a couple trees. And because the line is 9 feet long, when I'm going around this turn, the light is pointed at Sasha's bum, but I don't want to lead too far with the light. I want to see what's in front of me. So I'm going around this turn, and by the time the light is on the tree, Sasha's already starting to run up the tree. And I'm pointing the light downwards at Sasha, and I point the light up, and as I point the light up, I see a tail sticking out from the other side of the tree. I was just like, slam on the brakes, whoa, and it was just too late. She was already all going up the tree, and I knew from the tail it was a raccoon 100%, and I was like, oh no.
Like, it got away, right?
It did. What I did is I grabbed the line out in front of me and I started pulling her in because I didn't want to stick my hands into what was going on there.
Into her mouth and pull out a raccoon. Not that we're laughing at, like, this raccoon, but, like, you have a husky. Or any dog. You're, like, these are just the realities of having a dog.
This is Sasha, too. She's the
and
huskiest
Sasha,
husky.
The huskiest of all the huskies. Yeah, that's happened to us before. We've, one of my dogs, I won't say which, so I don't shame her, has found a nest full of squirrels and one by one started removing them. And I was just like, what do I do?
The thing for me was a raccoon, especially one that size, can hurt her. And I'm sure she'll win, but I don't want her to get hurt. So she really wanted to play with Mr. Raccoon, but I was pulling her off of him, and luckily he got away, and he just kind of scurried off.
Yeah, they have like don't they have like claws?
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah,
like talons.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's birds, but like
they
you know
can
what
climb
I mean.
trees, so.
Yeah, that's true. So back in October, I went on a road trip with my one friend, and we had camped for half of the days. I told you this, but I'm telling the story again for our friends listening to the podcast. The first night we went camping, we got to the campsite super late, so it was already dark. So I'm already stressed out because, like, I have to pitch a tent in the dark. And as we're doing it, I just see, like, one set of eyes, and then you hear rustling, and then you see another set of eyes, and the dogs were just, like, hyper fixated on this spot in the woods. And this like campsite was not, you know how sometimes you'll go to a campsite and there's just like little like plots and like everybody's across from each other. Like, we were in the woods. This one was like all the way at the very edge of the whole thing. So we were in the woods, and the eyes just kept multiplying, and my dogs just kept getting very interested, but they never like lunged out at them. There were a lot of raccoons out there. They were like, I could see them all the way up a tree.
Earlier in the run, I was going and I seen a set of eyes. I was like, what is that? And that was when it dawned on me that I hadn't taken into account wild, like, you know, the critters that would be out there. And there was probably like 3 or 4 deer that I seen. I knew that they're deer because of how tall they are. You know, like a coyote or something like that wouldn't be that tall. So I knew it was a deer based on how high up the eyes were. That was the moment it dawned on me. I was like, ooh, I really hope we don't run across anything, you know, mean.
Right.
The coyotes will leave you alone. They know that that's something that they don't want to mess with, because basically between me and a dog, they know that it's not going to be something that they're going to walk away from, so they're going to leave me alone. But
that raccoon apparently wasn't that smart.
He was trying to climb his tree. That was what was happening, I think. Wrong place at the wrong time.
Poor raccoon. Have you gone on a night run since then?
Yeah, I went on another one. It wasn't as late at night though. I think I went at like 6:30, which here in southwestern Ontario right now in January, it's pitch black. There's no sun at all after 6 o'clock. I did take a picture. I posted it on Facebook, and it looks a lot brighter than it is, but my phone has like a night mode, so it takes a little while to capture the image, so it lets all the light in. It looks a lot brighter than it was.
It looked like twilight.
Yeah, there's no twilight at all. I've done night runs before, but that was when the moon was out. If the moon is out, it's a different story, especially if it's like a full moon. It really bright in a full moon, as long as it's not cloudy.
That's good. Like, a lot of my runs have been at night too. The dogs have their disco collars. They're basically, I got them at Lowe's. I don't know, whatever hardware store. It was around like Christmas time, and they were like right in the front, and I was like, yes, this is perfect. So I can see them at night. Not that we really need that, because we got lots of street lights and whatever here, and I'm not about to go to the river and do the run next to there at nighttime, because there's some shady people there at night. So it's like just around my neighborhood, it's not bad. So I get asked every week by Tiny if we can get a hamster. And on the topic of critters, like, I want to get a hamster, but I feel like it would just be really this would just be a tragic way to teach him about the circle of life.
It's almost inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, if I do this, would I keep this hamster just in his room? Then we have to keep his door shut. Then it has to stay in its little, like, thing, and it can never come out. And that just kind of would be a boring life for a hamster.
Eventually, you're going to be like, well, maybe I could put him in the clear ball. And then, you're going to put him in the clear ball and see what happens. And then he's going to get knocked across the room at 30 miles an hour.
I'm curious if any of our listeners have, like, rodent-style small game pets. Because cats, okay, fine. Cats are bigger. Phoenix has lived with a cat. Falcon lived with a cat, and she's like my Sasha. She worshipped that cat. Your dogs live with cats. But, like a chinchilla or, like, a bunny.
Oh, bunny.
Yeah,
Ooh.
let me know. Let us know, because I'm curious, and Tiny asks me all the time for a small pet, and I'm like, ugh, I just want to fill my house with pets, but I also don't want them to die.
Yeah, let us know. So,
my next topic, I think it goes without saying that when you are a pet parent, you're going to talk about poo.
Toilet talk already,
right? I did a live stream on TikTok earlier today, and I spent like...
Oh, I missed it.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. I was just taking the dogs for their WALK sequence. Griffin goes to the bathroom. I'm holding the poo in my hand, in like a bag, obviously not in my hand. But people are coming onto the live stream and they're asking me like, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm great, just like, walking the dogs, casually holding a turd in my hand. And I was thinking about it today, that like, how funny it is that I can just walk around holding a turd in a bag, and that is totally socially acceptable. In fact, you should do that. And that the vessel that the turd is in matters. If it's in, like, one of those, like, doggy bags, totally normal. If you're carrying it in a Tupperware, you're weird.
Yeah, ooh. Ooh.
Like, if you're literally carrying it in anything else, you are weird. If you walked outside...
But like, what if you're walking into the vet's office with a stool sample?
See, and that's different, but still... If I have to take a stool sample or have to take a urine sample, have you ever done that? My dogs have had a UTI, and the vet was just like, you gotta get a Tupperware. But when they start to go, you just gotta shove that under there and like try to catch it. It still feels weird to me that I was like, I did that once, and I was driving to the vet's office. I was driving to work first, then I was going to the vet afterwards. And I was like, this is me just casually driving to my office next to a Tupperware full of pee. But I don't know, like, you could try to be eco-friendly. Like, what if you go outside and you just, and you just carry around a glass?
Those
so you don't have
bags
to
are
use a plastic
biodegradable.
bag. You don't have to use a plastic bag. And then you just scoop up the turd in a glass, and then you just walk home with it in the glass. This is genius. Just drop that turd in your
The
toilet,
bags we
flush
buy
it,
are-
and then you're good. I'm gonna patent this. But now you have to walk around with a turd in a glass.
The bags that we buy are all biodegradable, so...
Yeah, but you could still, I mean, you still throw them in a trash can to be put in a landfill, but then eventually they biodegrade.
Yeah. You could do a doggy septic tank, too.
I don't know why I thought you were just gonna say a doggy slingshot.
What?
Okay. We're getting
That's
to
ridiculous.
No, I'm not slingshotting the dogs. We're slingshotting the poo. Hear me out.
It's still ridiculous.
Okay, there's two questions I have. Two poo etiquette questions I have. When you're hiking, right, and you're in the woods, there's a trail. If your dog takes a poo on the trail, you pick that up, right, because you don't want other people to step on it. But, like, you also don't want to be carrying around a poo for 5 miles. So is it fair to just chuck it into the woods? Deer poop in the woods?
No, don't do that. That's actually really bad.
Chucking a
You're
poo?
disturbing an ecosystem.
That's true, because some animal's going to smell that and be like, oh, I'm confused.
Yeah, and it leaches into the groundwater, and there's a bunch of like foreign parasites that ecosystem might not experience in the dog's poo that you don't want to introduce them to. There's like a whole bunch of reasons why you shouldn't do that, and it's a big no-no to do that, even if you're in the woods.
The sad thing is there's a lot of trails actually here that I've seen. I don't know, maybe people don't know poo etiquette here, but like we did one down in Orange County, and I think you've seen the pictures where we basically went up this like really high hill, but like all along the ascent was just poos. I was like, nobody even bothered to pick these up. So the dogs were so distracted, they just kept sniffing like one to the next. I'm like, can we focus? Why people leave their poos out
people
there.
do that way too much.
Okay, my second question. I was walking the dogs, and it was trash day, and I picked up a turd, as you do, and I saw people's trash cans out there, so I'm just like, is it fair game to throw the poo in the trash can? I didn't do it because, first off, the trash was already collected, so it was just an empty trash can, and if I put my dog's poop in that trash can, it would sit in this person's trash can for a week until the next time. So I didn't like throw the poop in there, and I carried it all the way home, put it in my trash can. Sure enough, that same day, I went to my trash can to bring it back from the curb, and there was a poo in there. Somebody walked their dog, had the same thought process as me, and then chose to put it in my trash can. I wasn't mad. I was just like, what are the odds?
I know that people do that, and I don't think anyone ever really says anything about it, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do that. Like, you're not allowed to go through somebody's recycling or their garbage. You're
right,
not
isn't
allowed...
that like an extension of their property?
Yeah, and there's like legal reasons why, because like you could be planting stuff or whatever. So if you're fooling around in somebody's trash, it's a little suspicious. If you're throwing away a dog poo, then you know you have some plausible deniability.
Let us know, listeners, if you guys have ever, but like, don't incriminate yourselves. Just say a friend of yours, someone I know, has once put a poo in a trash can. Let me know. I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks about this, because I was thinking this as I was carrying this turd home. What would stop people from just tossing it in the nearest trash can, and I don't have to carry this thing around?
It's not that big of a deal to carry a turd.
I know, I'm
come on.
carrying a turd. I do it every day. That's the best part about it, is like, it's not like it's an anomaly that I'm like carrying around a turd in a bag. Literally every day, I'm carrying around a turd in a bag. Think about that next time you guys walk your dogs and you're just casually holding a turd in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I didn't have pets. We had fish. I didn't have like pets where you had to pick up poos. And I can't remember what movie it is. There's one movie where these guys like ring somebody's doorbell and then they put a flaming bag of poo, like a brown paper bag full of poo, and then they light it on fire, and then the person has to put like step on it to put it out, and they step in poo. And I'm like, who just like has access to poo like this that they can put it in a brown bag? And then now I'm like, oh yeah, duh.
The Offspring have a song about that.
There's a song about that?
Yeah.
about a flaming bag of poo? Oh my
yes.
God. I hope that YouTube doesn't take this podcast down because we've just talked about poo for 10 minutes.
They might. I don't know.
These are things I think about when I'm walking the dogs.
Those are the things that you think about?
Yeah. It is kind of
Camille.
ridiculous. Like, what do you think the dogs think? Do they think that, like, we're collecting their stool samples, like, for science?
No. They just see that you're picking up their poo. Don't know what they think about it. I don't think they really care.
Today it was raining.
Yeah.
In
you
LA.
told me it was raining.
Yeah, it's been raining all day, which...
In LA?
In LA. In all of LA. Like, all the way up.
All of it. The whole thing.
All of it. The whole LA County. Yeah, we were supposed to go on a hike today with our friend Matt Shep, which didn't happen because the dog I was going to bring on the hike doesn't like water. This morning I let them out, and Phoenix was just like having the time of her life because she likes rain. I start to make my coffee. I come back to the back door, and Griffin has her body pressed up against it because there's like a tiny little like overhang. So she's just like, please let me in. So I let her in. I don't think she went to the bathroom. I let her in. Meanwhile, I call Phoenix. She comes out, and her, like, all the way up to, like, here is all mud. I was like, of course.
She's digging.
Yeah, I only thought about this story because Griffin's poo was the one I was toting around because she couldn't go to the bathroom this morning to wait till it stopped raining.
It's a long time to hold a poo.
Yeah! She held it until, like, this afternoon.
Jeez.
She'll hold it for, like, a whole week if she wants to, if she doesn't like what is offered to her. Why do they do that? Why does this happen to people? Why is, like, dog anxiety, why does a lot of it manifest in their butt?
Sasha won't poo on walks.
Like, at all?
Like, almost never. I can count on one hand how many times she's pooped on a walk.
Well, that's nice for you, I guess. You don't have to carry around a turd.
I think she's just shy.
Oh. What? Sasha's shy?
About her bowel movements, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. She doesn't want anyone watching her. Like, shine your headlamp in a different direction, Steve. Give her some privacy. You might have to go really far back on this, but Falcon was found in New York City. She's a rescue. And there's, like, if you guys know, there's not a lot of grass just, like, hanging about in New York City unless you go to Central Park, obviously. So, for a while, she could only go to the bathroom on the sidewalk. Like, I have a picture of her, and the driveway ends, like, right here, and the grass is right here, but she's literally a foot into the driveway going to the bathroom. And I posted it on Instagram. And somebody commented, oh, I'm so happy when I get to see a dog pooping on my Instagram feed.
I took a picture of Izzy. We were leaving the Toronto Pet Expo. I took a picture of her because she has this hilarious thing where she will walk until she has to poo, and then when she has to poo, doesn't matter where she is, she's gonna poo right there. She's pooped in the middle of this, like, a busy intersection before. We're crossing the street, she just slams on the brakes, poops right there. We're leaving the Toronto Pet Expo, and there's not much grass there either. Like, basically, like, the little medians was all of the grass that there was, which saw heavy usage already. And we're walking back. We're walking back to the truck, and Izzy just in the middle of the parking lot, and I'm gonna poop right here.
Oh man, at the LA Petcon, I love Petcon. I've had good experiences there, but they gotta get some better facilities for the dogs. Like at New York City Petcon, this is how I met Jess. I was like walking out of Petcon. She was walking in, and I was like, do they have doggy bathrooms out there? Like, I don't see anything. She's like, there's nothing. You gotta, like, try to find some grass. So at LA Petcon, I guess they learned, and they put this little, like, patch. It had to be maybe, like, I don't know, like 6x4. Like, not very big. This patch of, like, turf that's supposed to, like, be where the dogs can poo. And you can see, like, the city dogs, like, there's, like, chihuahuas and whatever, were using it in the beginning, and Griffin was not having any of it. And then at the end of Petcon, as I'm leaving, I'm like, oh my god, that thing smells so bad. How did they think that this tiny patch of fake grass was going to be enough, like one bathroom for all of the dogs at Petcon.
That was LA?
That was LA. Guys.
So what they did at Toronto's Pet Expo is they had like these little stalls, like cage stalls, and they put hay in there. With hay or straw. I always get the two mixed up. Probably straw.
Okay.
And then they would change the straw as the day went. The problem is that kennel cough was going around at the time, and a few people warned us. They said, stay out of those, because a dog goes in there and they have kennel cough, then your dog could get kennel cough from that. But that way it doesn't stink. You can just replenish it all the time and clean it, and it's relatively clean for the whole day.
Right, instead of like a glorified bath mat.
You gotta feel
absorbed all. It was nasty.
Yeah.
And I remember as I was leaving, so Griffin and Phoenix did not want anything to do with it. They didn't want to touch it. But I remember as I was leaving, somebody else's dog like wanted to sniff around there, and like they were like, ew, no. No, like you can go somewhere else. You are not going in there. You're not stepping on that nasty grass. I wasn't going to talk about this today, but I saw at that LA Petcon, that same LA Petcon, this guy who had a St. Bernard, it was a St. Bernard, wearing a full skin suit. It looked like it was wearing a unitard. Leotard? Unitard.
Unitard, I think.
Yeah, and it turns out, okay, I think the dude is from Shed Defender. I don't know, look it up. I'll put a link in the description box below. And I think the idea, he was on Shark Tank, I think. The idea is like, it like holds in all the fur? But then, does it make the dog uncomfortable? I don't know. The dog didn't seem uncomfortable. He just like looked like he was in an 80s music video.
Yeah, but then it all comes off anyways when you take it off. So like the only thing is that I can see it being useful for is like if you have every other room in the house, you're like, I don't want my dog getting hair on the couch. I don't want my dog getting hair here. But this one place in the house is where all the fur will be. Maybe that's kind of geared towards people like that, but...
That is going to be one hairy room.
But why would you get a double-coated dog? Or
right.
Any dog that sheds?
It's just going to be, like, you just have to accept that it's going to be a condiment in your house now.
My other worry about something like that is, like, matting. Wouldn't wearing that too much cause matting?
I don't know. We've never tried it, but I'm curious to see if anyone's ever tried it. That would be interesting. Maybe it doesn't work on Huskies. Maybe it's, like, just other dogs. Because, like, my mom's yellow lab shed a lot, but it was very different. It wasn't, like...
They're short hairs.
Yeah, and you know when you take is it a dandelion? And you, like, when the seeds are all out there and you, like, blow on it and it, like, flies away in the wind. Is that a dandelion? It's the poof. It's a thing where you, like, blow on it and you make a wish. The poof.
You make a wish?
Yeah.
It's a 4-leaf clover.
No. I'm getting them all confused. Anyway, that's what husky hair is like. They're just, like, they're like poofs. They're, like, little, beautiful snow globe.
It's very
poofs.
fine hair.
Yeah, whereas like my mom's yellow lab, you could like sweep that up. But husky hair, if you like, I've swept their hair before, but it will just like blow up in like a beautiful dust cloud.
Yeah, you get these the husky hair tumbleweed.
Yeah. You brought to my attention that there's a term that I didn't know meant apparently what it meant, because I thought this was me.
Fur moms?
Fur moms. I thought like I'm like, right? Aren't I a fur mom?
So I think there's a little bit of like confusion. There's a lot of people that consider themselves fur moms. So sometimes I'll say like fur mommy. Like,
what's that?
You're a fur mommy. A fur mommy is a person that treats their dog or cat or any other animal like a human child. I'm not saying that you treat your animal as if it were your child, like you care about them that much. I care about my dogs just as much as if they were a child. But I understand that my dogs are canines. They are not humans. They do not have human brains. They do not have human rationality. They do not have human intelligence. They are not human children, and I do not treat them as such. Fur mommies, or fur moms, as they've become known on the internet at least, are people that treat their dogs very much like they're their own children.
So are they the people who get angry when dogs act like dogs?
Yes. They're the people that get they're usually the people that are you know very upset about, you know, like if you were to dye your dog, they get very upset about that, and
but there's
they get
like
very
dog friendly die.
Yeah, I see it all the time. People like, why would you dye your dog? It's like, it's pet safe. It's not going to hurt the dog. What's the harm in it? There's no harm at all.
Yeah, clearly the dog's going through a teenage rebellious phase and they need to have their hair be blue. Humans do that too.
Do what you want. As long as it's not hurting the dog, there's no issue in it. I have a friend that's a groomer, and she's posted like these horror stories about like one lady was like, she wanted a groomer, and the groomer was told by this lady that when the dog looks at her, that's when the dog is giving consent for her to brush. And when he does not look at her, he is removing consent.
I guess I would counter it with this. Like, has that lady trained her dog to make eye contact with the groomer and give them consent? Because that is a training thing, right? Like, every time I let Griffin out, Phoenix gets a pass because she has bad legs. I ask her to sit, and then I wait for her to look at me, and then I let her out. And now, every time she sits to go out, she's like, can I go?
Dog is not trained at all, I can guarantee it.
Trained like a human.
Yeah, it's that's the problem. It's just people, they don't want to, you know, it's like, oh, I won't cut my dog's nails because my dog doesn't like their nails being cut. Well, yeah, a lot of dogs don't like their nails being cut, but you have to do it.
Yeah, mine definitely. Yet somehow I still try to track them down in the house.
They don't like getting brushed, but you have to do it unless you want a matted coat or tangles, and that's a whole nother nightmare.
Here's the thing. I'm a mom of human and dogs, and the same principle works. Like, my son doesn't want to take a bath, but, like, he has to take a bath.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let him run the house here. He doesn't want to do his homework, but he has to do his homework.
Yeah, no, a lot of the principles will apply because there is a lot of parallels between human psychology and canine psychology, but the dogs don't have the same type of rationality as humans. They can't figure things out, so you can't teach them things in a way that you can with humans. Like, dogs learn things because they get something out of it. They get like a positive reaction. So they learn that they get a positive reaction when they do this thing, so then they keep doing that thing. It's not them making a decision. It's very rare that a dog is that smart that it can actually do that.
I had no idea that this was a thing. So I shouldn't get a shirt that says Fur Mom.
You can.
I totally have one.
You can. I just think that I was just trying to warn you that there's definitely a group of people that are considered fur moms, and they're not the type of dog owner you want to be associated with. That's all I was trying to express. Yeah,
no, and I've seen that. My first ever video on YouTube, my first ever, like, how-to or helpful video on YouTube was for babies. It was how to fly on a plane with an infant. Tips for flying with a baby. I started, like, getting stressed out about it because, like, the mom sphere, like the mom niche on the internet, can be so combative sometimes. There's, like, different ways to, like, raise a kid and different ways to, like, be a parent, and so people can just really hate on people in that, and I was like, that's not for me. Like, so I started making videos about the dogs, and I was like, this is the same thing.
I was about to say, it's the same thing.
But to be fair, I had been a dog mom for, like, a lot longer than I was a human mom, so I was like, I clearly know more about this than being a parent of a human because I'm still learning there. It's crazy because there's like a lot of there's a lot of conflicting information out there, and it's got to be hard for, like, new pet parents to find, like, you know, what's right or what they want to do or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's. I went through the same thing. There's a lot of things where it's conflicting. And I kind of had a lot of points where I do one thing and then I do another thing, and I'm like, I don't want it to be wrong. I don't want to do the wrong thing. And then, like I said, when I was learning mushing, and I was talking to some of the mushers that I'm friends with, amazing people. And one of my friends told me about mushing, but I applied it to everything. Is take what works and throw away what doesn't. If it works, it works. So if it works for me, it's what I'm going to use. I'm not going to try to use something that doesn't work with my dogs because somebody thinks it's the better way of doing something.
I've been getting stressed out a little bit about that for Iron Paws because, like, my dog will not pull me. So I can't put on, like, her X-Back harness.
You're off the couch.
I know, but, like, I can run more than this dog.
If that was my dogs, then there'd be a problem. But
Because they're not pulling you on the bike, you're just like riding alongside them.
That would be bad.
Eventually it'd be nice if she could pull a sled. Or a bike or something. But if she doesn't want to do it, like, I guess I'm not going to try to make her do it.
But yeah, if you're to show up even at a race with the proper equipment and, you know, she ran with a slack line, as long as she's somewhat in front of you, you're not going to get harped on too bad.
Yeah. We have a running joke, you and me, that Griffin eats rocks. I'm not sure that she actually eats rocks, okay? Because we were just like, oh, she's kind of dumb. Like, she eats rocks. And she had to get some dental work done. She had some trauma to her teeth. I don't know when it was from. Had to have been from before, because I never see her chew on anything. So the joke is that she eats rocks. Well, I started taking down all the Christmas stuff like a couple weeks ago, and for a while I was doing it like after work, so it'd be dark, and I didn't want to like go to the garage and like get all the boxes. So I like assembled all of my like Christmas ornaments and decorations in the middle of the living room, just like kind of like in a pile, so that when I got the boxes I could just put them away quickly. Sure. And I'm working, I'm like in a meeting, and I hear crunching, and I'm like hold on a second. I'm like in my meeting, and I walk over, and Griffin is straight up, she has some like fake ornament, like this red painted like ornament thingy in her mouth, and she's trying to like chomp it, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is not edible. Like, not even made of food. It doesn't even smell like food. How is this a thing? She brought it to her bed. I had to open her mouth and stick my hand in and pull it out.
Oh jeez.
And then I was
she really liked it.
She really liked it, and I was like, oh my god, you do eat rocks. I thought it was just like
Told
a
ya.
joke. She really does. Oh my god. I like, uh-oh. Gotta hide all the rocks in the backyard now. Like, what have your dogs tried to eat that's not edible?
Oh my god. Where do I start? They try to eat everything that's not edible. The toilet paper thing. Like, people come over our house and be like, oh, I put the toilet paper roll back on the toilet paper roll holder. It's like, no! You can't do that! The dogs will take the whole thing off the roll, and Loki will just take off with a whole roll of toilet paper. Like, the whole thing in his mouth. He'll take off and then eat it, or try to eat it. We always have caught him.
Why do they like that?
Izzy loves eating clothes. Like, she ate my, the beginning of the cuff on my Shaitan Siberian sweater. She'll eat holes in pants, eat shirts, eat hats. She loves eating clothing. I don't know why.
Oh my gosh, isn't that a saying? Like, if this is true, I'll eat my shirt.
Well, Izzy will eat your
Izzy's
shirt for
like,
sure.
Bet.
Yeah. Those brand new beds that we got for the dogs. Remember I was telling you about that?
Yeah. She
I
ate
go,
the bed?
No, Loki ate the bed. I hear tearing, and I'm like, what is that noise? The dogs are in bed. They can't be tearing anything. And I just hear tearing and tearing and tearing. And I go in there, and he's just like side-eyeing me, looking like, I'm not doing nothing. It's like half the bed, the fluffy part is torn right off. You know, anything in the backyard. Oh, when he was a puppy, we had these wood chips in the garden. You buy like a big huge load of wood chips, and you put them in your garden to kind of like make it look nice. And he would just eat wood chips. Sasha, she's eaten all sorts of stuff, but she's really bad for on walks. She'll eat tissue paper, any sort of tissue paper. Like if there's like a Kleenex, she'll eat it, and it's disgusting.
Like off the ground, blah.
Yes.
Like take it out of her mouth.
Yeah. So you have to pick it out of her mouth, but that like somebody used that Kleenex. It's like, no, I don't want to touch that. And she'll also
gross, Sasha. Wear a mask.
Cat poop. She loves eating cat poop.
That's Phoenix. I don't think she eats it. She rolls.
No,
Why?
Sasha eats it.
Why?
We were walking her the one time, and she picks up something off the ground, and that happens a lot with her, and it's usually tissue paper. So I just instinctively reach in her mouth, and it's just like, oh, why did I do this? It's all over my hands. Oh, it's so gross.
What are you talking about? You casually carry a turd every day.
Well, luckily it doesn't happen that often.
There's a cat that lives next door. Every now and then, she'll be like in our patio or whatever, and I let the dogs out there, and I don't know what I was doing. I like looked away. I come back. Phoenix is coming at me like she has a present. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is weird. She comes over, she has something in her mouth. She drops it on the ground, like, here, I got this for you. And it's a cat poo. And I was like, I don't want that. I thought it was going to be a dead mouse.
Oh, that's gross.
I know, I was like, what would I rather have, though? What would you rather have? Dead rat, cat poo?
Dead rat.
Yeah, for sure.
Dead rat.
Dead rat, for sure. Oh, I mean, both of those are bad options. They're bad options. We've just talked about, like, some of the most appetizing things on this podcast today. I hope nobody was eating while you listened.
It was a gruesome.
I know, ew! We talked about critters, poo, eating things that aren't edible. That was it. That was all of my, wow. I really was thinking about, like, lots of nasty stuff this week while we put the notes together.
You got your mind in the gutter.
I got my mind in the poo, apparently. Update, though. Since the last time we had this podcast, we're now available on Spotify!
Woo!
Yay! It makes me feel legit. We're also available on Google Podcasts and Stitcher and Podbean and whatever. You can now listen to my voice and Steve's voice on the go, talking about poo. Hopefully, maybe while you're walking your dogs and casually holding a turd in your hand.
And some dog mushing stuff in there, too.
Yeah, that's true. Whatever, this podcast is about all things.
Siberian
not
Husky.
just mussing. Yeah, so it's like the good, the bad, and the stinky.
By the way, how are you doing in Iron Paws? What's your current standing?
Oh my gosh, I haven't checked. I did pretty well this week, though. I did,
Yeah, but this is week 3.
7-something miles.
The scores aren't up yet.
Oh, okay.
I moved up
I'll have
from
to check.
21st to 16th.
Let's pull it up.
There's a lot of people in your class, though. You're in 40th.
That's not bad. Although last week I had kind of like a meh week.
You're 40th out of 105.
That's like slightly better than 50%, and I'm not okay with it.
How many people are in my class?
All right, where's Svep? 2 dog.
Whoa, I moved up again.
All right, you are. Oh, there's not that many people in your class.
No, there's only 27.
Ooh, 12th place out of 27. All right, let's do some quick math. So you said 40 out of 105. Top 38%. You.
Probably just about the same.
44. Like, if the thing is, like, I see here, I'm here in 40th place, but like I am doing all the work. I am doing like all of it.
I'm not
like,
doing any work.
Like Griffin is. Whoa!
Whoa!
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Told you it's been raining in LA, and everything here is dramatic.
Glenora mashed potatoes, 31st.
Oh my God!
Beating
They're ahead
you.
of us. We need to get on. First they take my name idea, and now they're ahead of us? Thanks for joining the Sibe-Stream Podcast this week. Your support means so much to us. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and leave us a like, comment, or review. Remember, the best way to care for your Siberian Husky is with love. Take care, and we'll see you all next time. Aru!